the bus.
You want me to honk when we go through the tunnel?
Yeah.
All right, what are we gonna say? Shave and a haircut. Want to know how to do transitions in FilmoraPro? Well, that's what we're gonna cover in today's video. Hey, what's up? Aaron Bowman here. Thanks for coming by and checking out another video today. And if you are new here or you've been watching for a while and you haven't subscribed, liked, or hit that bell notification, make sure you do that so you're notified when we go live and when we post new content. Now, like I said, today's video is going to be about transitions in FilmoraPro. First things first, we got to get Morgan off to school. We are actually ahead of schedule today. It's 8:13. Normally, we're not on our way to school till almost 9 o'clock. So this is a good day so far. Let's get to school. All right, so back at the house, all the kids are off to school. Already answered a few text messages and emails that came in for some real estate stuff, but now we're gonna go inside, jump on the computer, fire up FilmoraPro, and kind of go into the different transitions and stuff you can do with in it. So hopefully you like today's video, and I'll see you on the computer. All right, so we are on the computer. I apologize for any noises you hear in the background, the fans. I got a fan going on my laptop, so it's making a little noise. But now we've got FilmoraPro opened up. If you've been using Filmora 9, you're going to find this a little bit different because Filmora 9 has a lot of stuff that's already preset. So here there's some, but we can tweak some of the stuff that we have going on. So let's start with the dissolves and the ones I use the most. Now, one thing to note is that regardless of your clip or what transition you're using under the transition folder for video, you can put these in the beginning. So if you want to transition in and transition out in a clip, something like this, you can do that. It doesn't have to be an abrupt start to your video and then back out. Now, if you want to get rid of these, just left click on them, right click, remove, or you just highlight it by clicking on it with the left mouse button and delete. Now, that's something you can do in the beginning of the clip. Now, most people are going to use these to transition from one clip to another, so it's not a hard cut like this. We have the house, then bam, we are walking in with the agent to view the house. So that's really not that pleasing. Obviously there's no audio with this or special sounds like a whoosh or anything like that. So the one I use a lot is the additive dissolve and cross dissolve and light leak. And they're all very similar. They do stuff a little bit different. I obviously add, take away. But that's what it looks like with the additive. So it starts to add one clip into the other and it makes for a nice smooth transition. Now, there's not much you can do with this one. Once it's up there, that's it. You can only really shorten it or lengthen it based on your preference. Now, as you will see with some of the other ones, the cross dissolve kind of does the same thing. And as you see, it just moves more across the screen. Those are two probably that I use the most for most of my transitions if I'm not doing it in camera with a whip, a pan, or a push-in, or like a pull-out type thing. Now, light leak gives you a few more options when you're doing this one. So again, it's going to go from a bright color to the next scene. So if your clip you're on is ending with going from maybe more of a dark to a lighter scene, that would be a great place for that. Now, with this, you can bring it over on the timeline, click on it, and over here under your controls, you'll see appearance and light leak. So you can change the position, the scale, the stretch, rotation, start speed, end speed. All that stuff can be done in here. If you don't want white and you want to maybe do like a pink transition, it'll add some pink to it, so it'll look something like this. So it all depends on what your clip is and how you want to blend that in. But make sure when you're doing this that you really check your controls because there's a lot of stuff you can tweak to them. Now, the next one is going to be motion folder. So we have a push, a slide, and a split. The push one is very popular to use, especially if you're going from one clip to another because it pushes into that clip. And again, you get some stuff up here that you can adjust, but let's just take a look at it. Oh, that was the push. I'm sorry, I was thinking the cross zoom. So yeah, with the push, it's basically going to push one clip to another. And let me get that back to where I wanted it. So Basically all it's doing is it's pushing one clip out of the way of the next. So to make that look a little bit nicer, you can add some, make sure you're on the right part, you can add some motion blur to it, which will help. So we can crank that up. You can change left, up, down, you know, how you want it to come in. So that changes the orientation a little bit. And with the blur on there, it looks a little bit better. I don't use that one too much. The next one is the slide, and that's just basically going to slide it from one side to the other. As you can see here, just slides it across. So what we can do is we can slide in, we can slide out. We can change the direction of it. So if you want to have it slide in a different direction, you can. So it could be something like that, where it's going to slide out that way. And again, it really depends on what you would like. Add some motion blur to it. Hopefully that just feathers it out a little bit more, which is kind of nice. And then the split really isn't that exciting. It just kind of splits the screen down the middle. And again, you can add the direction you can change. You can do it in reverse. You can add motion blur to it. You can add some borders if you want. So give it more of that retro feel when you're doing it. And again, these are all things, and again, if you want to adjust the length or the duration, all you have to do is just grab it right on the edge, and then you can change it however you want. All right, now I'm going to jump over the wipes. I really don't use them. They're kind of goofy looking. I'll show you one just so you have an idea, and this is what it looks like. I mean, there's some things you can do to it, but I really don't play with it that much. I don't use them. I don't care for them, so I use mostly the dissolve, the motion, or the zooms. Now the cross zoom is very popular. You'll see it in a lot of videos. And it basically just brings you in and then back out. And again, we can add motion blur to that. We can bump that up. We can change the offsets if you want. But for the most part, if you're going from one clip to another and you didn't do it in camera, that's one way of doing it. And again, remember, you can put these in the beginning or at the end of the clip. You can stack other stuff on it, but this is just kind of going over the different different transitions. And so that one kind of comes from in. Now we can go from out. So it goes from out to in or in to out. You can change the radius. You can do the offset. So we can put a border around it. We can give it a little more blur. And then, you know, it's a little bit of a different feel. Well, you know, something maybe a little more retro like the split one before. Now the fade to color is a great one. I've used this one a lot. So basically you're going to go from one color to the next. So again, kind of like the light leak, if you're ending with a darker clip, you could do the black, or you could do a different color. And basically you can just change the color of your fade. So you want to find something that kind of makes sense to your storyline. Most of the time you're just going to leave it black. So if I'm not using a light leak, I'm using that one. Don't use the iris. That one's kind of cheesy too. I'll show you that real quick. But basically it's like an eye, opening and closing. So maybe like that James Bond 007 type thing. Okay, so I will go over one of the wipes, especially if you're like a George Lucas or Star Wars guy or girl and you're really into those movies. How he does a lot of the same transitions in that movie is done with a linear wipe. So let me just get rid of this here. So take the linear wipe, bring it over, drop it on your timeline. Now you get a couple different controls here. So I'll show you what it looks like standard. Right? Not that great. It's kind of but remember that he uses that in a lot going from one scene to another. But here we go. We can change some stuff to it. So the first thing we can do is we can change the direction. So maybe we want it more on a diagonal, right? Something a little bit different. Okay, not so bad. And now maybe we want to add a little feathering to it. Now the feathering, you'll see, will help a lot when it brings in the two. So based on what your needs are, it's a little bit more of a blended type transition, so it's not such a hard line. And that's really what you want, in my opinion, when you're coming to do a transition. All right, so that's pretty much it with your transitions. Now, just remember the one big thing is where to find these. That's under the effects, and you want to go under the transition video. You can also use transition audio, which is basically going to crossfade or fade one audio clip into the next, so there's not a hard cut, just like you would have with your video. And remember, if you're using something like, say, the crossfade to color, you can use that in the beginning of a clip, and you can use it to join two clips together. So again, it looks something like that, where it comes in smoothly, as opposed to being just a starting of the video with, oh, there we are right there. It just adds a little something to it. And then again, you can play with all the extra settings under the controls and scope and stuff like that. So hopefully that helped you guys. I'd love to see what videos you guys are making with Filmora Pro. Please send a link down below, comment, like the video. Also, don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell notification so you can be notified when we go live or release a new video. Thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you